Hey there, Rose here.
What?
I know.
Who the fuck is this nigga, bro?
I'll answer that later. So I'm pretty sure my viewers are more of watchers than readers.
How can you read this? There's no pictures.
Well, some people use their imagination.
But I loved books when I was in elementary and middle school. I still do well in high school, there's just not a lot of good books here. And luckily for me, reading was never looked down upon at any of the schools I just happened to go to. In fact, one of my closest friends, an athlete, one of the best basketball players in our school, said himself, "Man, I need to read more," and asked me for book recommendations. Like, he is single-handedly destroying school stereotypes that were forced upon us in 80s high school films. Good work, sir, I thank you. Anyways, as previously stated, I am a bit of a reader. Master never taught me, so I had to learn English by stealing his yaoi magazines. I read storybooks from Judy Moody to Big Nate, and graphic novels and manga from Smile to Berserk. Funny enough, Berserk was my first manga, but aside from that, I'm sure we all share some childhood books. A good chunk of those being Big Nate, Captain Underpants, Dragon Breath, Bone, and so on. And I can already tell some of y'all love the Dork Diaries. Ooh, I can just smell people in the comments going, "Oh, I grew up with the dictionary and encyclopedias, actually." Like, okay, go ahead and spell every word. Oh, wait, you can't? Yeah, that's what I thought. The only non-picture book you read was The Tale of Desperate. Now shut up and read because of Winn-Dixie like the rest of us. Point is, I loved these books, and they were honestly just goated. Like, Big Nate was about a nerd who draws, and it honest to God clears the franchise that will not be named. A lot of the books I read when I was younger were usually just books with dumb fun or a story about a young main character trying to reach their goal by any means necessary. My two favorites obviously being Big Nate and Judy Moody. Big Nate was about an energetic 6th grade boy by the name of Nate Wright and his average 6th grader behavior, like throwing a blanket onto his opponents during a basketball game. That should probably demonstrate the overall energy of the franchise. Usually him and his friends just do dumb shit. In fact, he was such a bad student, he was literally frame 1, first day of school, given detention. He's also in detention so often that he's casual with the detention teachers. But Nate as a person is no menace to society. Really, he's on the more tame end. He's usually just trying to be cool, raise up some girls, make money, or just do whatever he wants. Yes, sometimes he and his friends get hurt, but no one's getting hospitalized. There are also some times where he just ignores gravity, but that's really it. Judy Moody, this was also of a similar caliber. No gravity defiance, but similar premise. Judy, unlike Nate, isn't a bad kid. Realistically, she wants to prove herself at every opportunity she gets. She's a girl who just wants to do a lot of stuff, whether it's straight up becoming a doctor at the age of like 12 or something, or doing whatever she can to make sure that summer doesn't suck. And whenever she's inspired to find a new ambition, she always has her little brother Sting at her side, as a test subject or a yes man. And yes, that is his name, Sting. Just straight up. He also has his own spin-off too. My favorite was the one about this competitive wrestling thing. It was nice. I was definitely inspired by these characters at early ages, which brings me to this. Books are genuinely great because they were here before TV, and whenever video entertainment isn't an option, I can always read a book. Best example is manga and comics being an alternative to anime and live-action films since they follow the same story. I grew up with a lot of books at my disposal and genuinely enjoyed going to the school library to pick out a book with my friends back in the 6th grade. We basically got to hang out in one area surrounded by books and talk about whatever we wanted. This was a long intro. I could have just stopped after Judy and Nate, but I know these two alone would not satisfy my magnificent viewers. So without further ado, how is your time zone going, everyone? I wanted to shamelessly use nostalgia to get attention, so I'm going to talk about some books from our childhood. Books like Captain Underpants, Baby Mouse, Dear Dumb Diary, and Bone were popular when I was in elementary. Granted, I had read one page of Dear Dumb Diary and straight up never got to read Bone, but I did read a few volumes of Baby Mouse and I glanced at Dork Diaries like twice, so I basically wrote it. Anyways, I'm gonna go off the top of my head. Baby Mouse was about a girl who viewed herself as a princess, a great portrayal of main character syndrome or a superiority/individuality complex. We would see the world through ours and her eyes, where she characterized everyone her own way, and she of course viewed her crush as the prince. Time and time again, she's hit with a reality check and constantly reminded that she is not the princess she wants herself to be. In Dork Diaries, I don't know, it's probably a boring, dumb girl book for girls about girly girl stuff that I would never read because I'm a manly man's man. In Captain Underpants? Bro, that series is such a goat. Bro, the bros Harold and George literally hypnotizing their shitty principal to be not a bird, not a plane, and not an egg salad sandwich, but the greatest superhero ever written. Bros gaslit powers into this man. Like, imagine you get into an argument and tell someone to take a hike and they just do it. Better yet, you tell them to fly away and they just blast up like it's nobody's business. The movie was great, the Netflix show is great, and I hope it stays for the next generation of kids. The writer takes no L's and is clearly incapable of missing because they made fucking Dogman. And don't get me started on the flip around one. Bro, choreography gold. Bruce I got shit on this man. Like, Ip Man who? Rush Hour who? Bullet Train couldn't hold a candle to Captain Underpants, let alone be written nearly as well. I love this franchise so much. The aggressive alliteration in the titles, the character designs. Literally one of the main villains' name is Professor Poopy Pants. They don't miss, bro. They don't miss. The S tier comedy. The GOAT himself. I just need a moment. I think I'm gonna cry. Wait, no. I almost forgot to bring him up. Melvin, the D1 hater, the snitch, the kiss up, the one who always goes, I don't get it, what's so funny? The nerd emoji himself. Like, bro, his name is Melvin. How much more perfectly written can this nigga get? And given our sense of humor, that joke has never aged better. Okay. Now I'm gonna cry. Now, if you couldn't tell, these books had something in common. Fun. They were all fun in some way, whether it's childish mischief or just hanging with friends. Judy Moody taught me to work hard, and Big Nate taught me to have fun whenever I can. These stories taught me determination and positivity. Cause I'm gonna be real, I have no idea what these trauma-dumping 14-year-olds were reading in elementary. Maybe Goosebumps or the Black Lagoon series. That shit is fucked up, bro. Goosebumps had me scared of my own imagination, making me think up the scene composition on my own, and my second grader self was not a cinematographer. Like, if you gave me a Goosebumps scene and told second grade me to make this shit look scary, you gonna have to fire me, bro. Like, that shit would be like,
The doll stared forward blankly as the lightning struck, casting a sinister light upon the plastic imitation of light.
and I'd be reading it like, the fuck is a lightning? And the Black Lagoon series was just unhinged, like having literal alligators as teachers, and half the time a straight up sentient school, along with a hellish horse rider during a school play, and whatever the hell the principal is. And the concept wasn't even always monsters, like it was just insert noun from the Black Lagoon. Like, bro, riddles from the Black Lagoon? What is Uwe there too? Like, who the fuck is asking riddles and who's answering them? Beyond horror books like Goosebumps and Black Lagoon, there was also Dragon Breath. It wasn't exactly a horror book series, but I'd say it was maybe gothic at least, being very morbid when it wanted to be. Can't exactly remember a lot. So, quick synopsis. Danny Dragon Breath cannot breathe fire, but he is fearless, and I remember being even younger when I couldn't read, because I was a dumb, stupid baby with no job. Oh, it was pathetic. But the perks of being a useless, loose-necked baby mostly involved bedtime stories. These included those dinosaurs books, anything by Dr. Seuss, and a book about that dumb mouse. Green Eggs and Ham was like the GOAT, because later in 3rd grade we had Green Eggs and Ham Day, and everyone either gaslit themselves into believing it sucked or placeboed their friends into thinking it was better when realistically there was no difference in taste. Like, I know the point of Green Eggs and Ham was to try new things, but that didn't go by the children at all. What the book did was make kids argue over if eggs tasted better green or not. These kids' books had lessons to them that probably didn't age well anyways. Like, if you give a mouse a cookie, dog, you'll attract more mice and then die after catching every disease known to man. Or if you give a moose a muffin, bro, it'll ram you the second it sees you. And if you even get to the point where you can give it a muffin, it'll truck the shit out of you the second you run out of muffins. These books were straight up telling kids to feed animals like their buddies or some shit. Bro, you know what book had the best message? The Gruffalo, because it was both a don't judge a book by its cover story and a story about how these dumbass kids need to stay close to home whenever they go outside. All these books we read had a lesson to them. Whether we choose to value them is up to us. So in conclusion, everybody go read Big Nate and stop reading Diary of a Kid. Nate is objectively better.